Welcome to my channel. It's your boy Zach. Today we'll be doing a breakdown of episode 4 of What If. This one is starring Doctor Strange, one of my favorite characters in the MCU. And a spoiler alert, it's a pretty good episode. Episode 4 brings us all the way back to the first movie Doctor Strange was in, his origin movie, and asks the question, what if instead of in that car accident, he lost his hands, the use of his hands, because obviously we all know he was a famous doctor, and he messed up a surgery in the first movie, and that caused him to go into an alcohol binge, push everyone out of the way and out of his life, be a loner, and he was driving drunk, he went off a bridge, and he messed up his hands and could not be used, and that's what set him down the path from science to magic, so that he can find a mystical way to get his hands back. This question, the Watcher asks, in a universe, what if he did that surgery successfully and was going to a party with the love of his life, someone he didn't push away, Christine, played by Rachel McAdams, something like that. You know her from Mean Girls.
Party at my house with Gretchen and then scam on some poor innocent girl right in front of us 3 days later. She's not interested. Do you want to have sex with him?
And what if instead, when they get knocked off that bridge, Doctor Strange doesn't lose his hands, Rachel is the one that dies? Because Doctor Strange Stephen Strange loses his hands in the first movie was a metaphor of him dying, and then him finding magic was his rebirth, because he was this arrogant, self-centered, selfish person that was only a doctor for the glory. He wasn't in it like most doctors are. In this part of the multiverse, instead of losing that, he and being rebirthed and changed from the old Stephen Strange into the Source Supreme, he loses Christine, and that causes him to go down a similar path, but a darker path. So I'm going to start off with the good. The first thing I want to say, I think that the story is one of the strongest parts of this. Doctor Strange is one of the most underrated characters, not only in the MCU, but in the comics as well. I was really hyped that this was one of the episodes they were going to do. I did not know that they were going to go back and flip his origin story. And I think that showing what would happen with a slight change like this, how it would set him down a similar road, because after Christine dies, he still goes to find mystical ways, but instead of to help himself, is to bring Christine back. Wants all the power. He wants to become the most powerful sorcerer because he wants to bring the love of his life back. And a lot of that arrogance, a lot of stuff that got snuffed out of him in that movie, it does not go away here. And because of that, it takes him down a dark path. He starts learning mystical arts that he should not be doing, and it's very similar to his villain inside the first movie, how that character wanted more power, wanted to power than the H1. So I really was excited to see what that slight change did to him and where he went and the lengths that he went to gain the power to bring her back. And the next thing I really liked about this episode was the fact that it expanded and explored the theory that Hulk had in Avengers Endgame. The fact that when you go to the past, you do not change your future. Your present is now currently your future, and you're living in a new present. People were kind of confused a little bit, and in this episode, they explored that even more and added something that there are fixed points in the universe, in the timeline, that cannot be changed no matter how hard you do, no matter how hard you try and what you do to change it. And if you go to extreme lengths to change it, you may mess up the universe because it's a fixed point. It's something that needs to happen within the universe. It's when he goes back in time with the Agamotto, he ends up being in like this kind of like a Groundhog Day time loop where he keeps trying to save her in different ways, even trying to stay out of her life in one of the scenarios. And a lot of times in these type of shows or movies where somebody goes back in time and try to save somebody or stop something from happening, usually it takes a long time before we see that it's not something that can be stopped. But they did it right away. They got straight to it, and they showed all the different attempts that he had to try to save Christine but could not. And I really enjoyed seeing each version, what he would do, even kind of letting her go, and that still didn't work. It was a fixed point. One thing that I felt helped this episode a lot was the episode length. If you see my other reviews for What If episodes, links will be down below in the description. I always had a problem with the episode lengths because they're usually like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and we don't get to expand and breathe and really take in everything and see all the different scenarios. I feel wanting more. This episode was like 35 minutes, and we got to really make the story breathe. We got to look at all the different scenarios and really understand the struggles that Strange was going through. We got an appearance from the Ancient One, and she even gets into a battle with Strange, which was dope to see. And that's my next thing. Doctor Strange has great power set to show off, and obviously in the movies it's live action, they only can do but so much, and we got a little taste of it in Infinity War when he fought Thanos, and then they benched him in Endgame for some odd reason. So for him to be able to go all out in this episode, because there's no, it's animated, so you can just go crazy. I really enjoyed that, because Doctor Strange's power set so far has been the most impressive looking visually, so for them to take full advantage of the animation was really great. We had two different big battles. Well, a couple kind of battles throughout the episode. While dispersed through the story, they did a great job of weaving the drama and the story with the action. So it wasn't empty action. It wasn't just action for action's sake. And another thing, in some of the battles that we had, it was a bunch of Easter eggs. There's a part where he's doing certain things that summons different creatures, and we see a three-headed dragon, we see titans, we see a little elf. But one thing that really got me interested was one of the creatures that he summoned, and it was Sumaket. And this is a character from the comics that is a ancient lord, and he is an enemy of Namor, which I thought was really interesting because Namor is rumored to come and to debut in Black Panther 2, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So I'm wondering if that is going to be tied in. It is a creature. Black Panther deals with some mystical stuff, and it's a mystical being. Also, another Easter egg they tied in the tentacle creature, Shuma Gorath, from episode 1 with when Hydra was trying to bring it into the real world. They tied that back in here. So it made it feel like maybe this is all one timeline that they're showing, but that's separate from us. And I really like that little, that continuation, a little bit of continuity. Another Easter egg that I like was this character named Cagliostro. He was supposed to be one of the first Sorcerer Supreme, one of the strongest sorcerers ever, and he had a rumored way to break fixed points, to destroy them. But those things were hidden far away, because obviously the H1 said if you destroy a fixed point, there's a chance that you may disrupt and destroy a timeline, or destroy the timeline that you're in. But Strange, being arrogant, thinking that he can do something that no one has ever done, decides to go and try to find the book and the learnings and stuff like that, to try to learn how to do it. And we get to see that character, and it's a character that's deep into the Doctor Strange mythos, and that's what I really like about these what ifs, is that we're getting into some comic book accurate stuff, and it's really, really, really interesting to find out a little bit of the history of Doctor Strange, because we haven't had a movie for him in a long time. He's popped up in Thor Ragnarok. He was in Infinity War and Endgame, but he was more of a supporting character. So this was really good to flesh out his world even more before we get to Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. And speaking of him popping up before, another Easter egg is, if you saw the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, and if you didn't, I don't know, you're crazy. You gotta watch the trailer. Almost everyone that saw the trailer thought, this Doctor Strange is acting a bit weird. And in my trailer action, a link will be down below to that too, I even said it before I saw the people's reaction, that I felt like this is off of Doctor Strange. The Doctor Strange that we saw in his movie and in Infinity War, he was more responsible. He was arrogant, but he was responsible. A little bit different from, Tony Stark, who's also arrogant, but a little bit reckless. He's really willing to take the chance. I felt like Doctor Strange in that No Way Home trailer was off to me. And a lot of people think it's Mephisto, because everybody's obsessed with Mephisto because of WandaVision, because we thought he was going to be in it. But I'm starting to think that Strange that was in the No Way Home trailer might be the Doctor Strange that we're seeing here. He might have found a way into our universe and got here. And the reason why I feel like that is because in the trailer, Wong tells Strange not to cast the spell and drink some tea and don't do anything reckless. And that line is kind of referenced here in the episode, where Wong tells this version of Doctor Strange the same thing. And he goes on and does it anyway, just like this Doctor Strange in No Way Home trailer. So I think maybe this might tie into No Way Home. It might not be Mephisto. It might not be, a Skrull or something else. It might be a alternate dark evil supreme Doctor Strange. Let's move on to the bad. I don't have much bad. I really love this episode. This was chef's kiss to the people that made this. I thought it was fantastic. I was engrossed the whole time. The visuals were great. The action was great. The only thing I thought was that there were certain magical elements that weren't explained really well. I'm not a big fan of when they do magical stuff and they're kind of like, yeah, it's magic, you know, like you just like the watcher is just supposed to just say, okay, magic can do anything, and it just erases rules that was set prior. They kind of did that in this episode, so that was just a minor nitpick, but it was something that I noticed. And another thing is that I wish they could have shown a little bit more of what the ending meant. I don't want to spoil the ending for people who haven't seen the episode or just want to check out this review. But I really wanted to see what the ending is going to be expanded. And if he is the character that's going to be in No Way Home and is that Dark Doctor Strange, hopefully they reference what happened here for people who may want to know more. And now for my verdict. This episode was great. This is my favorite episode so far, the 4 episodes. I think that it was the most visually entertaining. I think that it had the most interesting story for me personally, because I am a Doctor Strange fan from the MCU and a little bit of the comics. And I think that this, there was nothing groundbreaking here. There's nothing super groundbreaking in any of these episodes so far. Kind of like the past Disney Plus series, but they all been very entertaining. And I think that this episode gets a B+. So please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to watch more of my content and be notified when it happens. And you can check out more right now.